Oh boy. The pinhead pill, the small cranium pill, the tiny ass head pill is one of the least talked about, yet one of the most brutal black pills of all time. Now, a lot of people, when they hear me talking about how I'm a bald cell and I'm ugly, I'm sub 5 male, but I'm 6'2", a lot of people just don't want to believe that. They say, you're 6'2", you're white, you're a fake cell. You're a fake cell. You can't be a sub 5 if you're white and 6'2". Well, folks, I've got the data right here. And I'm not just making excuses. I'm not coming here with nothing to show you. Here it is right here. Here's the data. I have a tiny head, and I measured my head. My head circumference, and I made sure to measure in the correct way. I used a pie tape, which is a circular metal tape measure, a flexible one. It's made for measuring the circumferences. I used the official tool for the job. Now, I measured my head at the widest part, right? I made sure to get the part that has the greatest circumference. My measurement came out at exactly 22 inches. Now, if you convert that to metric, 22 inches is 55.9 centimeters. So it's about 56 centimeters. Now, I am 6'2", which comes to about 188 centimeters. Okay? Now, let me show you this chart right here. Okay? So what we're seeing here on the x-axis, we have height in centimeters. Okay? So I'm about right here at 188 centimeters. Okay? And on the y-axis, we have head circumference in centimeters. And remember, I'm at about 56 centimeters. Okay, so let's find the intersection of those lines. Okay, so it's right here. It actually falls pretty much exactly on this dotted diagonal line here. So what is this line here? As you can see, this line here is labeled with the number 3, and it is the lowest line on the entire graph. So what does this mean? Well, what these diagonal lines are here, this is showing the percentiles for head circumference for a boy of 16 years of age. Okay, so you got to think, if they're measuring people 16 years of age, I don't know if the average person has, if their head grows to a greater circumference after the age of 16. I would imagine for some people it does. So this data is actually probably skewed a little bit even in a direction that makes my head even more of a fucking pinhead. But yeah, so if you haven't picked up on it yet, what this shows here is that for my height, the circumference of my head is smaller than 97% of other people my height. Yes, you heard that right. My cranium size is only larger than 3% of men that are my height. I literally have just about as small a head, as tiny a cranium as a man can have. And I mean, if you look at my head circumference, even if you take it down to as far down as this goes, even if I was only 150 centimeters tall, which is 4 feet and 9 inches. So basically a midget. So even if I was the height of an actual dwarf, of an actual little person, the size of my head would still be only about 50th percentile for people of that height. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand the severity of this? When I buy a hat that is one size fits all, and note, that means it's a hat that's supposed to fit children, it's a hat that's supposed to fit women, and it's a hat that's supposed to fit men. It's supposed to fit everybody. It's one size fits all. Well, when I buy a hat that's one size fits all, because I have before, you know what? It doesn't fit. It doesn't even fit. My head is that small. And back in the day when I was a teenager, I had really thick hair. I had big, thick, long hair. It made my head look normal. I had a normal looking head back then. But now I'm bald. I'm bald. Okay? There's nothing I can do here now. I'm straight up bald. And I'm bald in a way that, I mean, it definitely looks worse if I don't shave it. But the problem is when I shave it, it looks even smaller. So it's really a lose-lose situation. You know, there are some meme pictures, just some kind of like, you know, funny pictures of a funny, ugly looking guy online that I've seen that are basically where the guy's whole problem is that he has a small head. And that's basically what I look like. I look like a fucking meme picture of a guy with a small head. I'm a pinhead. I'm an absolute pinhead. And to make matters worse, it's not just that I'm too tall for my head size. Even for my height, I have a broad frame. I have a large frame for my height. You know, like when I measure the circumference of my wrists and the width of my shoulders, I have a pretty broad frame, which generally would be a good thing. But when your head is this tiny, when your head is only 22 inches in circumference at the most circumferential part of the cranium, boy, that's not good. It's not good. I'm a pinhead. I'm a cranium cell. I'm a pinhead cell. How can I expect a woman to take me seriously as a romantic partner when she has a larger skull than I do? I'm getting skull-mogged by little girls, no exaggeration. The average 15-year-old girl skull-mogs me. My cranium is tiny. Very small circumference, and the rest of my body is large. To put things further in perspective, at my height, I'm like 90 to 95th percentile of height. And for my cranium size, I'm literally 3 percentile, bottom 3 percentile. I'm a big oaf with a tiny ass head. There could be nothing more brutal than that. And the thing is, I know it, you know, no one's ever going to say it to my face, but I just know it. In the workplace, in my career, even just talking to another man at the grocery store, at the bus stop, whatever, they don't take me seriously. I got a small head. You're going to instinctually think that means I got a small brain. You're going to instinctually, intuitively think/know that because of my tiny ass skull, I got a small ass brain and I'm stupid. And you might not be wrong. Although I think I am smarter than my cranium size lets on, but who's going to believe that? Really, who's going to believe that? I mean, Jesus Christ, looking at this chart, I mean, it's so over. It never even began. Because, you know, you got to think, my cranium right now is at the largest it's ever been. Imagine me as a little kid. My head was even smaller then. Although proportionally, maybe not as bad. And I did have hair to hide it. But now here I am. No hair to hide my tiny ass head. And I've always known, I mean, I've known for my whole life that I have a weird shaped head, especially since I went bald. But I didn't always realize that the problem was that my head is super tiny. But, and it's so brutal wearing a hat, because wearing a hat can't hide how small my head is. Because, you know, when I wear a snapback, I've got it snapped all the way tight, you know? So the way it looks on my head, the whole strap is like hanging out the side because I have to snap it all the way as tight as it can go. And it's just, it's so brutal. It's so brutal. I would not wish the pinhead fate on my worst enemy. I really wouldn't. I would rather have any other trait, you know? I would rather be short with a regular-sized head. I would. I would rather be short with a regular-sized head. Because at least then, I'm not a freak. Because as it is, I'm a freak of nature with my tiny-ass head. Bottom 3 percentile. Bottom 3 percentile head circumference. Getting skull-mogged by 12-year-old girls. Hell, I'm getting skull-mogged by a fucking lollipop. My cranium is that small. I got an acorn resting on top of my shoulders. Supposed to be a cantaloupe. This shit's embarrassing. It's humiliating. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video real quick just to show you some raw data to really explain how, you know what? Being tall is not necessarily all it's hyped up to be. Because when you're as tall as I am and you got a large frame like I do, but you got a tiny, tiny head, you're getting skull-mogged by little girls. You're getting skull-mogged by manlets. You're getting skull-mogged by literal little people. And it is brutal. It is absolutely brutal. But yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about for this video.